Hello everyone, this is Nitya. Thank you for listening in. So today I wanted to speak a bit about flow, the state of flow that we call it synchronicity or being in tune. We got different names for this state that most people or everyone I'm sure has experienced flow at certain times of our life, but we might not be clear about how to make it happen. It seems to be quite elusive the way it sort of comes and goes. It's almost like I feel grace connects very much in with flow. It's a state that's kind of magical when it happens. So in my work as an intimacy coach with men, my work is a lot about connecting with flow and creating flow in our intimate connections. And it's a topic that I've been looking into and working with for many years. So I have areas in my life where it's very easy for me to connect with flow, where it's I kind of mastered the code of how to tap into flow in those areas. And you might have areas in your life where you connect very easy with flow as well. And there's other areas where we don't. And one of the areas where I still haven't mastered flow is in public speaking or speaking in front of a video like now. So bear with me as I'm learning to tap into flow when I'm speaking as well, because as there's a strategy to everything we do in life, both the things we do well and the things that we don't do well, there are steps involved that mostly we're not aware of consciously, but we can learn to decipher what those steps are so that we can actually create those steps and that sequence, that strategy to create what it is that we want, and even something like flow itself. So if you hang on, I will soon get into describing the foundations for creating flow as I have discovered it to be. By no means a conclusive list, but it's I feel it's very close and something I'm working on. So I'm curious to hear what you think about this, what your ideas are about flow, what your insights are. So please comment below or send me a message about your insights when it comes to flow in your life. So why we would want to have flow, first of all, I think to me it's pretty clear, and probably to most people, that when we have flow, everything just seems to work perfectly. It's like our brains are switched on. All of a sudden we can access information, memories, data, as well as our intuition and creativity very, very easily when we're in flow. It's like all the connections are switched on. And also our body seems to be relaxed and in tune, and it can move easily. It can find its way in all sorts of situations. If we stumble, we will quickly find a way to get up or to stop ourselves from falling. Everything is just really working perfectly, as perfect as possible in our whole body and energy. So if we can create more flow in our life, that means that we can really maximize our potential when it comes to creating successful outcomes, whatever area that might be in life. So learning how to connect with flow, finding out what the steps are for creating flow in any area of life is something that's really, really interesting for me, and I hope it is for you too. So to tell a story, for instance, as an example of flow and no flow, for instance, for me, dancing is something that I love very much. And when I was young, I loved dancing as a little kid. And then as I got a little bit older, still a child, I took dance lessons, and I realized I was not very good at learning dance steps at all. In fact, I felt like I was the worst one in the class. I just got kind of really tense about it, and it was really hard and it wasn't fun. And so I decided that I wasn't good at dancing, and I didn't dance for many years. And until I came across free dance meditation, like 5 rhythms that I've been doing for 10 years, and also dance parties, for example. And that's where I connected with my ability to connect with flow in dance. And I discovered that when I was in flow in dance, I could dance I could dance beautifully to any music, and it just felt really natural, and I could dance really well. And I could even dance sort of dances that I had never learned, like dances that seemed like they were from a different time or era or tradition. And excuse me, I got a bit of a cough. Okay, so yeah, so what I discovered was that in the state of flow, I had access to knowledge and abilities that I didn't even know how I got them, where they came from. And as a contrast to being in flow would be a state when we're not in flow, which I would describe it as being in my head, for instance, like I'm being overly stuck in my head and trying to think and figure things out just from my head. And while doing that, I lose touch with flow. So things become sort of disconnected and unnatural and bumpy, and it's easy to fall over and say the wrong thing and stumble over my words and fall over people and my own feet and generally muck up things. So in the dance, I found that if I ever tried to do a cool move or impress on someone or do something like really cool, it kind of would backfire on me, and I would fall over or bump into someone or get a whack sort of from someone dancing past me. And I found that was like a sign of showing me that I was in my head in that moment, and to come back to flow, just come back into a state of just flowing with the energy, and then everything would happen really beautifully again. So everybody has areas in life where they experience flow. So for instance, for a musician, he or she might experience the flow in music, and especially maybe when playing together with others, those magic moments happen when the music just flows, and people might be improvising the music, and it's just happening sort of like divinely guided. And somebody who is a sports person might be in a moment of flow when they just feel like they're all of a sudden completely in tune with every movement, with the ball or the step or the jump or whatever they're doing. And a person who is a public speaker or a storyteller might have a moment when they're in flow, and all of a sudden the words are just flowing out of their mouth effortlessly, and they're being funny and everybody's laughing and everything is just happening magically. So yeah, there are examples of how we can all experience flow, how we all have had experiences of flow, and which then leads on to my curiosity for how we can create more flow in our life, and perhaps not just in the areas where we used to have flow, but also in areas where we have not yet experienced so much flow. So the steps that I've worked on for a little while are 5 steps. So just in short, just an outline first of the 5 steps, and then I'll go a bit more into each one of them. Is step number 1 is about connecting within our own body first of all. That's the first step. And the second step is about connecting with trust, with our heart. And the third step is stepping into the unknown with courage. And the fourth step is about embracing failure and mistakes. And the fifth step is about connecting with a higher purpose, with the divine. So to look first of all at step number 1, when we connect with our own body, our bodies are naturally in flow, even when we're not thinking about it. Like we go to sleep at night, and during the night while we're asleep, everything in our body is happening beautifully. Healing is happening, the blood is flowing around the way it should, and the metabolism is happening, everything is happening beautifully. So the body already knows flow naturally. So this is why the first step is about connecting in within and just really connecting with our body. If we are, for instance, been in our head thinking, so to take a moment to really just feel ourselves from the inside and feel how everything is happening there, how the breath is going in and out, how the blood is flowing, and how everything inside us is already in flow. So that's the step number 1 that can really help us to first of all come back inside and come away from overly thinking in our heads, which some people have the tendency to do that more than others. For them it's more than of a challenge to get out of the head, but they're also the ones that can really benefit from getting out of the head for a moment and getting in touch with the body. So getting in touch with the body is the first step. And the second step is about connecting in with the feeling of trust, which is we can connect and access that feeling easy by breathing into our heart and feeling our heart. So to be in touch with trust, it's like a feeling of let go and trusting that we're okay, that we're taken care of, and allowing ourselves to relax and feeling safe, feeling trust and feeling the love in our heart and also the joy, because when we're having fun, when we enjoy, then we naturally fall into flow. Like look at children playing, for instance. They're having fun, they're in flow. Same thing happens at the same time. So that's the step number 2, to connect with trust in our hearts and our joy. And the step number 3 is about taking the step into the unknown. So if we're holding ourselves back from doing the stuff that's scary, we're also limiting our ability to experience and expand our ability to be in flow. So to step into the unknown with courage is step number 3. And it's quite easy for us as humans to hold back from things that we are not, used to. And we kind of waiting and hoping that we're going to have the courage to do something, but courage actually doesn't come until the very moment that we step into doing that thing that we're afraid of. That's when courage appears. So step number 3 is about stepping into the unknown with courage. So this might be just anything that's for us is unknown. It doesn't need to be a big thing, but a little thing that for us means that we're actually stepping outside our comfort zone. So stepping into the unknown with courage, that's step number 3. And step number 4 is about embracing failure, which is super important when it comes to getting in touch with flow, because if we are afraid of making mistakes, then we will be holding back, we will be contracted, we will be somewhat in fear, which means that we can't be in flow at the same time. If we're afraid of making mistakes, we just can't be in flow at the same time. So if we can approach any new venture with the idea of that mistakes are absolutely and totally and 100% welcome, then we are opening the possibility for experiencing flow. So that's step number 4. Embrace and welcome failure, and know that the person that makes the most mistakes and has the most amount of failures up their sleeve, that will also be the person that is most successful, because it's the failures that teach us. It's from failures that we learn. If we don't take the risk to make a mistake, we're not going to learn as much as a person who is ready to make another mistake and another mistake and another mistake all the time. So embracing failure is step number 4. And step number 5 is about connecting to a higher purpose. So flow is... when you think about flow or feeling to flow, I'm pretty sure you will remember or feel that when you have been in flow in your life, it's kind of like you weren't doing it yourself. It kind of just happened or came to you or came into you from somewhere else. And this is exactly what is so amazing about flow, that it's not something that we're really doing. It's more like something that we're allowing to happen or allowing to enter us. It's something that's beyond our little self. So in the moment that we are allowing ourselves to be connected to something bigger than us, we are opening the doorway to experience flow in life. And as an example, everything in nature is connected to something bigger, to nature itself, to life itself. And looking, for example, at the birds flying in formation in the sky, I'm pretty sure nobody's ever seen the birds sort of having a meeting where they're discussing or teaching each other how to fly in formation and how to keep the exact positions perfectly symmetrical as they're flying through the sky. But it's much more something that the birds, they are tuning in to the ability to fly in formation, because they are part of something bigger than themselves. They're part of the whole flock of birds. They're part of the sky and the nature itself. So they automatically know how to fly in formation. And there's countless examples of this in nature, how when we tune in to the bigger picture, we just know, we naturally know how to do things the best way. So step number 5 is about getting out of our little world and tapping into something that's much bigger than us. Whether you call it a spiritual connection or nature or whatever you prefer to call it, what it is for you, it's about tuning into something that's bigger than us. And from that place, we have access to so much more information than what is just our own. We have access to all the generations of knowledge passed down through our genes. We have access to psychic information. It's traveling through time and space, and we have access to the collective consciousness and information that can be passed between us telepathically. And in this way we can play a much bigger game, where we can be part of something bigger than us and be part of being co-creators together in this big amazing universe. So that's the step number 5 in how to enter a state of flow in our life, whichever area that might be for us. So I'm really curious to hear what insights you have in regards to this. What's your experience of being in flow as opposed to not being in flow? And whatever you have to add or any questions, just get back to me either in a private message or in the comments below, and I'd love to hear from you. And best wishes for you in getting in touch with your flow in your life. Okay, ciao, see you later.